Good morning, everyone. We're just getting out and about today. Got a little project to finish up. Rabbit hutches, and I'll show you. The rabbits are they're happy. They've kind of went to the next level. Their energy level's way up now. The only other thing that they're doing is now that they're kind of in the zone, so to speak. I noticed their poop and urine is really building up in this temporary dog cage. So I mean, this is only 2 days. I've got to get them at a place where I can manage that much better, get them moved around. What I'm going to try to do here too is a little novel idea. We brought this home. I don't want to make you guys too nervous. If you see there's a huge um, openings here and on the side. So we had used this for chickens and different things to transport at different times. So thought no problem with the rabbits. The only problem was when we turned it up the other way, they were able almost to get out of those openings. So my dad had a very bright idea to flip it over upside down. So the cage is actually upside down right now, and they can't get around the bottom, and nothing can get in. But this is just a temporary thing. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to use something to shore up this gap on the side where they can't get through that, and place this out in different places on the lawn in different areas, and let them just kind of graze and free range during the day. We're going to try to use that as a rabbit tractor pretty quickly and see how that works. And then we may build something. I want to build something a little bit bigger because I don't necessarily like the idea of them being trapped up in a very small space all the time. But I will also say this: in the wild, rabbits are not they're not like deer or cattle that want to move long stretches of property in a day. They typically want to stay in a smaller area. They like to stay undercover, still, and kind of slowly graze. If you ever watch a rabbit around the yard, they're always beside a plant, a bush, and they're grazing. But they're not just running and ripping, because in the wild, a rabbit that's just running and moving and being visible is a target for a predator. So they're in other words, their natural instinct is not to need a lot of space, and because of that, we're not going to have to create too much space. They're fine in smaller areas as long as they have enough room to move around. But what we're going to try to do is bed them typically at night in hutches that we'll build for them, and then during the day get them out into these tractors that we will put on different places on the yard, let them graze as much as they want to. And then at night we'll bring them back in, put them in the hutches, and make sure they've got everything they need there. So that's the game plan. I'll rotate this around and kind of let you see the project this morning, finishing up with the hutches. I posted some pictures, didn't really do a video, I don't think. Yesterday there's the kids' bike, kids. Basically, the structure I use, and you can use this structure, that's what I call an H. Let me show you this. Anybody that wants to try to build these things are not that hard to build. This wall here, this part right here, I call it an H frame. I don't know what it is. I just call it that because it looks like a giant letter H. You got the board across the middle, and then you, of course, put one across the top here. 2 legs. So it forms kind of a box. On the inside here, what I do is you cut, let me move this out of the way, and I'll show you this in a minute, but you cut this 2x4 across 1.5 inches shorter than the length you want it. And then you mark that opening for that piece of 2x4 there. Just mark that, and go ahead and screw this part to this board here. So you're screwing this part, I don't know if you can see the screws, no, they're on the inside, but you're screwing that part to this board. Same thing, so you make this kind of a letter H with a bar across the top, or maybe a giant letter A, who knows, but anyway, once you get those 2 sides built, then you can run her across. Just set it in there, screw right there, and I put one more, typically a 3rd one across. So you got 2 going in, 1 across. Makes a pretty strong corner, and that creates your basic box. And then you'll have to design out the inside of the box like you want it to work. Use the basically exact same basic design to create the boxes for the chicken coops, except we sheathed the outside of that with Luan and painted it, which worked perfectly nice for the chicken coop, and so forth. So anyway, that's basic there. The other thing I did on this is different. Is I took 2x4s and we ripped them in half. Here, made about 1x1. You can buy them, but it's cheaper to rip them. Funny story though is my dad went to use the rip saw, and the saw was so dull, and we got in there to try to start ripping these boards, and it was Sunday afternoon. We were trying to get this done, get some progress done. Did not want to take a trip all the way to Home Depot or Lowe's or Marvin's to grab another rip blade, so we just pushed through. It was terrible, smoking up the shop. We had ventilation fans to. That's what you call getting hard-headed with your work, Then my dad comes down and said, "Oh, I've got another blade." So toward the end of the project, of course, after I'd spent an hour too long working on this, we finished it up. But anyway, so we did that yesterday. But what we did was here, and maybe I'll try to be able to show some of that later on as we built these doors. These doors are basically 2x4s ripped. And you can see these are not perfectly, jointed, but they make a perfectly good rabbit hutch door. These will set right in here, like so. And then we'll cover the face of them with hardware cloth, and we got the hinges and everything. This will frame up from here to here to frame the outside of the door. And we'll show you some of that once we get that done. But that's basically what we're doing today. I've got to run a piece of poultry wire between this space here as a divider on the backs, and then we're using this smaller dimensioned netting for the floor. So that's how that'll work. We got about a 2.5 foot space off the ground, and I like that. That's worked well with both my chicken coops, and it's worked well with my both my chicken coops. And to me, it just keeps the animals, first of all, it keeps them kind of at a shoulder, chest level, so you can kind of deal with them. One of the things that I didn't get this on my own, this is our first time with rabbits, but with the rabbit hutch, you want to be able to reach to the back corner, the furthest back corner. So I tried to make this where, with the door open, I can reach back, because if the rabbit gets back here, you got to be able to get it. So you want to make that about 30 by 36 is what we recommended for these rabbits. So that's kind of where we're at with the hutch. This morning we're going to finish up a few little things we need to do. Like we're going to put the wire up. Hopefully by this afternoon we will have, or within maybe an hour or two, we'll have this thing ready. Because like I said, these guys are really needing to get out of that temporary cage and really need to get into their new home. Now the other thing I need to do is, I haven't really thought this one out. It shouldn't be too difficult. But I really need to get some kind of shelter box or something in there for them to get in and kind of rest and get out of the elements. The other thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to use tarps to kind of isolate them during the day. A lot of places where we bought them from, they were just out in the open in wire cages like this, which is not too bad, especially the location I have them in. If you see here, they're kind of in a wooded area, kind of back against everything, so that should give them some feeling of security. But they don't like to be exposed, and they don't like to be in the bright sunlight. That's just not their nature. Typically a rabbit would be probably during the day like this, just kind of hiding out under the brush somewhere, and just kind of being real still and quiet, not alerting predators. And then toward probably the early morning and late afternoon, they would get out and find them a grassy spot, maybe something like over here with some leafy things to chew on, and they would just get in there and graze, and really carefully cautious to do that. And then they would once again kind of get somewhere, maybe like in a place like this, and just get out of sight. So that's their nature. They're not looking to run in a big open field. So what we're going to try to do is help them manage that. And yet again, so basically we're going to let them sleep in the hutches at night, and then we'll get them out during the day. They put them out there in these small covered rabbit tractors on places on the yard in different areas that we're going to let them graze and just graze, you know, and then toward the afternoon again we will put them away. I've heard some people recommend moving them at least once every 4 hours. I can see why, because they are really super good grazers, and they probably graze a bald spot on your grassy yard, so you don't want that. But that's the game plan. So again, we'll probably hopefully get most of this finished by the end of the day today, and this will look like a rabbit hutch. Maybe if everything goes well, it should. I mean, I'm probably about an hour or 2 hours of work away from being finished, and we should be able to move our rabbits here. And one final problem we're having is they're already starting to try to reproduce, even though they're too young, and we don't need that right now. It's the does are too young, so we don't want that. So we need to get this done, and hopefully we'll have it done soon. So maybe we'll have some more pictures, and maybe tomorrow we can do a little live video of them in their new habitat. So that's where we're at so far. I see Valerie's watching. She's got our little girl at the doctor's office, and hopefully everything works out well there. But hope you guys enjoyed this, and maybe you get a little bit of information about that. The only other thing, let me show you this one more thing. The only other thing is I had a piece of old metal roofing. It was almost perfect for this. It wasn't even planned, it just happened. So that's what we're using for roofing. If I didn't have that, I'd probably go and buy some of that plastic or metal roofing that they sell at, you know, Marvin's or whatever, and use that instead. But that worked out well. So anyway, just a little information how we did that a little bit, some ideas. If anybody ever watches this stuff and thinks, hey, I'd like to try to do that, how did you do it? Shoot me a message in the comments. Shoot out a friend request, private message. Be glad to share what we're doing and how we're doing it. We're not experts at it by a long shot, but we're just trying to learn and hopefully make ourselves a little bit more self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and educating people along the way is a goal as well. So we will talk to you guys later. I gotta get to work, and hopefully everybody will have a great day. God bless. Talk to you.